Hello! Today, at the request of my letterboxing students, I am going to be making a video on how to create a duct tape letterboxing bag. So as you can see, this bag has a flap, and it's got a strap to hold the flap in. And then, when you open the flap up, inside is a Ziploc bag. And if you don't have a lot of locking lids or they cost money that you don't want to spend, this is a really good way to make a letterboxing bag. So let's get started. The first thing you want to do is pick your materials. This duct tape right here is camouflage duct tape. You can pick whatever silver. I've seen silver used, but usually I see something that's got some camouflage to it so that it blends in with your forest surroundings. Next, you're going to pick your Ziploc bag. I've got two bags here for an example. This one's okay, but the seal it's there, but it's not super strong. It's a generic bag, which is fine and you can use it. This one is a brand Ziploc bag, but I've also seen brand Ziploc bags that don't have this as well. But the key thing through the reason why I like this bag is because you can't see it through the video, but you can feel the seal is a little more sturdy. There's a little more plastic in the creation of that seal. Bags that have the sliding piece that goes back and forth are not as good because the sliding can break off when it's in the woods and exposed to the elements, the sliding piece. So we're going to make a letterboxing bag. Now I want my letterboxing bag to be about from here to here. I don't want it to be any bigger than this because the stamp that I'm going to put inside of it only needs this much space. So I'm not going to need this part of my bag. I'm not going to cut it yet, but I am going to cut it. So let's get started with the duct tape. So when you cut your pieces of duct tape, I went and I got some scissors that I don't really care about because duct tape tends to do horrible things to scissors. I did not grab my fabric scissors. I'm setting this piece of duct tape along the very top of the edge of the bag. And then I did enough so that it goes a little bit more. And so I can fold it over. I want to make sure that the edges are covered. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side. And again, I make sure it's big enough that I can flip it over and fold over the edges. Now, when I lay this down here, I'm laying it so that it overlaps slightly. So a little bit of my duct tape is going to cover each other. This keeps it waterproof and protects the plastic bag. And I'm going to do one more layer of duct tape on here. So it's going to go down one more thickness. If I can get these scissors to work. Hence the reason Why I use scissors I didn't really care about. I could probably also use a knife, but I care about all my knives and blades. Overlap slightly. Fold it around. Last one. Here we go. Fold it around. Okay, now I don't want all of this as part of my bag. It's just too big for the size stamp I want. So here's my plan. I'm going to take my scissors, and if you actually cut on the duct tape and cut a slight amount off, it's easier to get a nice smooth line than it is to try and cut through just the plastic. The plastic is a bit slippery, but you don't want to take that much off. So I'm going to cut this bottom part off. And I have my bag with a hole in the bottom. I can fix that with duct tape. Take a piece of duct tape. About the right size for the size of the base of the bag. The right size or a slight bit bigger. It's easier to have it bigger than smaller. Fold it up. So I put the duct tape on the one side, and then I'm going to fold over, and the duct tape creates a nice waterproof seal. Seal it up, and then you can trim the edges. It's better to leave a little bit extra there, just a tiny bit. I'll show you in a second. So that there creates a seal in that corner because you did cut the bag. Here we go. So we have our basic duct tape bag. Pretty straightforward. Perfect size for a stamp. Now I would like to make a flap to go with this duct tape bag. My bag happens to have this little bit here, which is convenient. So I am going to make my bag flap going up this side. So the first thing I'm going to do is get some, wait for it, duct tape, of course. So cut my first piece. And I'm going to lay it flat, going upside down this time. Again, I'm going to overlap slightly so there's no breakage, no space between. And yes, this sticky is going to be left to stick to whatever it wants to. Just don't press down hard and it should be fine. Mine is just resting slightly above the table and it seems to be okay, but I do also have a cutting board surface underneath, so if the duct tape does happen to stick to the table, it's not sticking to my nice wood table. And another piece of duct tape. Granted, oh, yep, that is sticking to the table. That's okay. It's getting bigger. We're going to trim that. Let's see if I can get that in. Yeah, so it's getting bigger. It's not a big deal. We're actually going to trim that. So last piece, three's the charm. Of course, it all depends on what types of bags you're using. Yeah. And the last piece, as long as it's at least the width of the bag, you are good to go. So now I'm going to lift this up and I've got my duct tape mat. Now I'm going to make another piece. I'm going to make another covering over here. And the first piece of duct tape that I'm going to lay is going to be at the very edge of where the Ziploc bag closes. So I'll show you what I mean. If you look here, oh, my extra Ziploc bag is sticking to the duct tape. Not going. So I'm going to go right here. I have to be careful that I don't create a situation where there's extra duct tape sticking out, which I just had a hole there, so I'm pulling away from it, or that I'm taping down the bag. So nice and smooth. And there we go. My bag can open, but I don't have any little holes in here with extra duct tape sticking out. So now 2 more pieces of the duct tape. There's one. And here comes 2. If I can get it to not stick to itself, that would be good. And I'm going to have that here. I've got an extra bit here, so I'm just going to fold it over, make a nice clean line, and we're good. All right. So now I've got a giant flap that can fold over. The only problem is I have all of this extra stuff. So this is where I take my scissors. I'm going to turn it this way, and I'm going to cut this bit extra, all this extra off, and I'm going to cut it just slightly inward. So it's maybe an inch. By the time I get to this point here, from this point here, I've moved in maybe an inch. And there we go. Having more success with the fronts of the scissors than the backs. And you can see I've got that angle in there, and that's going to give you a spot so that you can slide it into a strap in a minute. And there you go. I've angled it in, and now my flap will be able to go down. Now I need a strap to hold it snug. This is easily created by a piece of duct tape. This bag literally is just a Ziploc bag and duct tape. That is the only supplies you need, and scissors, which, there we go. All right, so to create the strap across the front, you're going to take your nice long strip of duct tape, and you're going to fold it inwards in thirds. So I'm going to fold it in thirds here. And I will fold it over and fold it in thirds here. So now I have a nice solid strip of duct tape. This is going to go around the edge here. You want to make sure that it's big enough to go across the front, and then have a little for the back, but I don't need too much. So I'm going to cut it to a size so that I've got this much extra kind of wings hanging off the back. And then I'm going to duct tape those down. And you don't need a big piece for this. Just a little piece is fine. Tape that one down. And tape this one down. So those are secure on the back. Now let's secure them in the front. So when I take, I've got my Ziploc bag here. I've got my flap here. And I slide this in here. Right now this is really loose and it can come off easy, but that is why you made this at an angle. You cut these in towards an angle. We're going to put a piece of tape securing here and here so that it holds this strap down and it keeps everything nice and snug. And I'm going to make this piece of tape maybe a little less than the height of the bag. So if I can get it to not stick on me, that would be lovely. So you can see I've got this here. I'm going to move it slightly over, not quite as far. So if I fold this down, I've still got plenty of ability to slide in there. Set it down and curve it around the side. Right here, cut my piece of duct tape. Apparently, as I am getting close to running out of the roll is deciding to stick to itself. Oh joy. And then over here, same thing. It's here. I'm going to lift this up, slide it over just a little bit, tack it down, and then fold it over to the back. I've got a little extra here, but that's no big deal. I can just tack it up and it'll make the corners a little stronger. So now I can slide my flap through the strap and it's all snug to hide in the woods. So my final bag is here. I've got the strap. I open up the flap and inside I can put my nice dry stamp and logbook. Probably still in another plastic bag just for security's sake. But that is a way to make a letterboxing box out of duct tape and a Ziploc bag. Have a wonderful day. This is Inky Fingered Knits. Happy crafting!